Hey everyone, the internet's sweatiest music nerd here, Anthony Fantano, aka the best teeth in the game. And it's time for yet another edition of Let's Argue, where I go onto the internet, I welcome your hot takes, your unpopular opinions, your tough questions. I respond to the best ones in this video series. That is the point of it. Let's go. Travis Scott does not sound good live. I mean, I've literally seen him live, and he sounds mostly like the record. There were a few spots where he was like kind of singing a little a cappella. He was kind of riffing a bit vocally, and it wasn't great, but that's not what the majority of the concert was. He was mostly just playing the hits, and they sounded like the hits. Didn't sound bad. It sounded kind of like the record. Madlib is one of the worst producers. His beats sound like unorganized garbage. I don't see how that description at all applies to instrumentals such as Meat Grinder or Accordion or literally any number of beats off of Pinata, any number of beats from the Beat Conducta series. I mean, Jesus Christ, if the man's instrumentals sound like unorganized noise to you, like, what the hell is J Dilla? What the hell is Slaus and Malone? What the hell is DJ Shadow? I mean, his beats are pretty neatly put together. If there's anything slightly messy about it, it's the somewhat lo-fi aesthetic thrown onto nearly everything, and you know that's his style. But that doesn't mean that the composition is just like trash and disorganized. I don't know what beats or projects you're referring to that feel this way to you. It certainly can't be his most classic works. It certainly can't be Yesterday's New Quintet, the jazz samples on that project he treated pretty carefully. It certainly can't be his W-Lib wig flip project from a while back, which in comparison with a lot of his other records, the production on that one was pretty clean. So I don't know. This is so horribly inaccurate and almost just bordering on trolling. This is a horrible tweet. This is terrible. No basis in reality, really. Sex Pistols are a extremely overrated band, as they only ever came out with one real album and a selection of demos that are nowhere near as good or as influential as other albums from bands like the Stooges or Black Flag in the larger face of punk music. Well, look, you didn't hear this from me, okay? You didn't hear this from me, but this is just one more example as to why in the grander scheme of punk, America did it better. And this is coming from a crass fan. There are a number of great classic punk groups and albums that I would rather see wiped off the face of the earth than to lose a single crass project, honestly. That's just how I feel. But still, America did it better. How does it feel to be indifferent or to have negative feelings toward an album that the majority of your public enjoys? Does it make you feel like you're missing something? Or have you experienced it too many times to have any particular feelings about it at this point? I think at a certain point in my career, I would probably have some big feels about this, but at this point, no, not really. I've gone through so many album cycles where I hate a record, or I just don't get the point, or I don't see the appeal of it at all. Sometimes those artists go on to sell platinum. Sometimes those artists just completely fall into obscurity, and it's like, oh, hey, I guess I was right. The music wasn't that interesting to begin with. At this point, it's happened so many times. It's essentially the natural order of things. In my reviews, you're getting my opinion and nothing but my opinion, because I have no reason to fear anyone hating or disliking what I think about a record, because nearly every person from every corner of the internet has hated me for having an opinion that they disagree with. In fact, a great deal of my audience consists of people who their first introduction to me was a review that they hated, and they wished I would die. And then they went on to maybe watch another review or two, or thought that was better. Maybe I turned them on to a band, or thought maybe I said a funny thing. I'm known on the internet as many different things at this point, but I think the reputation that rules above all is, hey, that's the opinion I disagree with guy. So why shy away from my brand at this point? You know, just say what I think, say what I feel, and just bask in the moments when I managed to have an opinion on a record that the vast majority of my audience agrees with. Clear disrespect to YBN Cordae when you mentioned that no one in this XXL comes close lyrically to j.i.d. Well, I mean, I did talk about how Cordae was the lyrical pick, and I mean, he's essentially the lyricist to beat in the XXL freshman class for this year. However, I mean, at this point, let's not act like j.i.d and Cordae are on the same level. That's not to say that, j.i.d wasn't working from a similar place when he was originally on the XXL freshman list. He certainly had something to prove, but j.i.d already has a couple of projects under his belt at this point that are very impressive, whereas Cordae still kind of has a ways to go to establish himself as an artist. He is a great lyricist. He has some great videos out there of him spitting, and he has some fantastic singles too, but we need a mixtape / a project that is going to blow us out of the water, waiting for it, hoping it comes sooner rather than later. And I think he is completely capable of doing that, so yeah, let's just wait for it. Let's go. More guys need to start washing their face twice a day. I suppose I've only washed it once, and it's very late right now. I am behind. But look, if you're someone who tends to be a very greasy faced, I guess, and maybe your skin, you get some blemishes and stuff, maybe you should wash and maybe exfoliate a little more often. It all really depends on what your individual skin experience is. Some people just need a little more exfoliating. Some people need a bit more moisturizing. You know what I mean? Just find a soap and a lotion and an exfoliating pad that works for you. Taking care of your skin is important. Aftershave is for cowards. I mean, I personally don't use aftershave or anything, but I wouldn't say it's for cowards. It's really more of a preference. Not a big aftershave or cologne person. I don't know why I'm going into this, but here we are. A lot of those very pungent, perfumey types of smells coming out of those colognes and male toiletries and stuff like that. They do give me like a really big migraine. I don't know why I'm so sensitive to those smells, and smelling them for a prolonged period of time, it just like kills my brain. I tend to be like that with stuff like Febreze and just like very bad like aerosol can scents and that sort of thing. It's why am I telling you this? God, why am I telling you this? Greatest hits albums are disingenuous and the least interesting way to get into an older artist. Why are they disingenuous? They're literally just a collection of songs that people tend to like from an artist. I guess it would be disingenuous for me to like tell everybody, hey, I'm the #1 Queen fan. I love Queen. Queen is the greatest band of all time. I'm the world's biggest Queen expert. I'm telling everybody I'm like this big Queen fan, and then I invite you guys over to my place and you take a peek at my record collection, and all I have in there are the Queen's greatest hits records. Yeah, I guess that would be a little disingenuous. Having said that though, I guess here's the thing. There are some artists out there that truly and honestly, their greatest hits literally are their only good songs, their only worthwhile songs. There really are some artists out there, from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s that you really could just like compile everything that's worthwhile in their catalog down to a greatest hits record and really leave it at that, and be able to listen to that and live your life and not worry about missing out on anything. So greatest hits albums are not all bad, and I guess they're not exactly an interesting way to get into an artist, but hey, like everybody's got to start somewhere. So, if it's a greatest hits album that gets you into the Velvet Underground, then it's a greatest hits album that gets you into the Velvet Underground. Who gives a shit? I got something to say. All curly fries taste the same. If by tasting the same, you mean good, they all frickin' taste good. Curly fries taste good. Shut up. People saying to stream whatever shitty new album that's coming out in Twitter comments is obnoxious and only makes people not want to listen to it. Someone seeing K-pop, Taylor Swift, Nicki Minaj stand number 12,000 spamming about a new album will not make a person try it out. Well, not to encourage this type of behavior or anything, because it happens to me personally all the time, but spamming did literally make me try out that 1000 Gex record. It did. It did make me try that record out. That being said though, it did not make me like that record. It did not force me to review that record, as there are dozens of records that are spammed to me every year at some point. And I do try some of them out because I am wondering, okay, like, why exactly is this large group of people like mobilized to be like, hey, try out this artist that nobody's ever heard of? You know, they must be passionate about something. I'd certainly rather, you know, take their point of view over maybe a PR person making up a reason why a band or an artist is good. And a lot of the time, what the stands are hyping up can be pretty bad, you know. So at the end of the day, you got to pass the smell test. You know, even if spamming a little bit does get your foot in the door, if what you're doing smells like crap, it's still gonna smell like crap. Cardi B ruined what could have been a huge song in Rodeo. I disagree. I think Rodeo is a fine song. It's a fine Lil Nas X song. It's maybe the best song on his new EP. And I think the Cardi feature is fine. I wouldn't say the feature makes the track. You know, if you subtracted it out, I think it would still be a decent song. But I don't think it ruins it. Cardi B just kind of does what she usually does. And if you're fine with that, then it's a fine feature. Lil Baby can switch up the flow of any song, and he's actually talented, and you're just hating. Look, I'm not trying to say Lil Baby can't flow on a song or whatever, or can't provide a flow on a track different than the flow of the artist that he's featuring with, but he's easily one of the most derivative voices in hip-hop right now. Like, if Young Thug wasn't here, you'd literally not have a Lil Baby, because he would have no one to blatantly rip off. The only reason you do this segment is because it gets a lot of views. My boy, I think you've stumbled upon the point of YouTube. Oh my God. It would seem people are on this platform to get views. Yeah, I do this segment because as a content creator, I want to make content that you guys want to watch, and it seems like you guys want to watch this segment, so I make it. What if you could eat music? I'd be on the next season of my 600-pound life, and at the end of my episode, I'd be dead. And that's going to be it, everyone, for this latest episode of Let Us Argue. Thank you very much for watching. You're the best. I love you very much, and I hope that this episode, I hope you wanted to watch it, because apparently I do this series because you guys like to watch it. Oh my God! Over here next to my head is another Let's Argue video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Let's Argue forever.